So in this video, we will talk about general introduction of rice. Second, rice milling, that what is milling and what is rice milling, what are the different types of milling process. Now the next is different rice milling system, and finally the commercial rice milling process in detail. Hi everyone, my name is Shruti Dubey and I am back with another lecture series to refine the topics of food science and technology. Today we will talk about rice milling. But before this, if you are new to the channel, make sure you have subscribed to the channel and hit the bell icon as well so that you will get the notification for more upcoming videos. So let's start. So rice is life for everyone. It is one of the world's most produced grains, feeding billions of people every day. India is an important center of rice cultivation and it is a very essential part of the daily meal in southern and eastern parts of India. Nearly half of the people in the world gets 50% approx of their calories from rice, but and without rice many people would go hungry. So rice is an edible starchy cereal grain and its scientific name is Oryza sativa, which belongs to the family Poaceae, basically a grass family, and it is earlier known as Gramineaceae family or Graminy family. Total 23 species of rice are there under genus Oryza, but only two of these are known to have a commercial value and are cultivated. And these two most commonly consumed types of rice varieties are Oryza sativa and Oryza glaberrima. Oryza sativa, commonly known as Asian rice or Indica rice, as it is cultivated in Asiatic region, whereas Oryza glaberrima is known as African rice, as the name suggests. It is cultivated in Africa. Asian rice varieties vary in color and grain length and have strong and fragrant flavor, whereas most of the African rice are dark in color, and because of higher yield potential value of Oryza sativa, it is mostly grown worldwide. So, on the basis of geographical distribution, Oryza sativa is divided into three subspecies. First one is japonica, second one is javanica, and third one is indica. And out of these three, Oryza sativa indica and Oryza sativa japonica grown worldwide. The wild variety of rice comes under Zizania genus. Rice milling. So in my previous video lecture, that is wheat milling, I have told you that what is milling and different types of milling. Here we will also first understand what is milling. So milling is a set of operation in which cereals grains are dehulled to remove bran, dehusked to remove husk layer, splitted in case of pulses, grounded to produce flour to convert them into an edible form. So basically, milling is a kind of size reduction or separation process to produce edible food products. For example, we say that wheat and paddy cannot be consumed as such, so they are first converted into an edible form and consumed by the people. So the main aim of milling is to convert cereal grains into an edible form. So broadly, there are two types of milling. First one is grain milling and second one is flour milling. In grain milling, the final product is grain itself. At the end, we are receiving grain. For example, rice milling. So in rice milling, white rice is produced from brown rice. So here what we are receiving at the end we are receiving the grain itself, that is white rice. And in flour milling, the final product is flour. Here the grain undergoes set of milling operation and at the end flour is obtained. For example, production of wheat flour from whole wheat flour. So from here we can define what is rice milling. So rice milling is the process that helps in removal of hull and bran from paddy grain to produce polished rice. Means rice milling is the removal or separation of husk and bran layer to obtain the endosperm, commonly known as white rice. So here we can say what are the objective of rice milling. The first objective is the removal of husk and bran layer. Second, to produce rice that appeals the consumer. Means the main aim of rice milling is to increase the consumer acceptability. And the third one is to have minimum number of broken rice. As when we are producing milled rice, number of forces are exerted to the rice and due to which breakage will be there. So to decrease the number of broken rice and to increase the rice productivity, milling is done. I think everything is clear now what is basically milling and what are the objective of rice milling. So there are two types of rice milling method. First one is traditional methods and second one is mechanical or commercial method, which we will discuss in the upcoming slides. Rice milling methods. Rice milling can be either done by the traditional method of milling or by modern or mechanical method of milling. Traditional method of milling. As the name suggests, traditional method is a method which we are using since traditional times. And in India, the traditional process of milling rice is hand pounding using mortar and pestle, dhenki, hand stone, that is chakki. So pounding the paddy induces the upward and downward direction forces on the grain against grain that removes the husk and the bran layer, which is used, which finally produces the white rice. So the finally this pounding method is followed by fine cleaning, that is winnowing process in a woven bamboo tray, and this winnowing process is used to separate the unmilled paddy grain from the paddy rice. Now the second method is mechanical or modern method of milling. In modern milling, the milling process is done in large commercial mills that which combines number of operations that produces better quality and higher yield of white rice from paddy or rough rice. And in commercial milling technology, three main types of conventional mills are used, that is huller mills, sheller huller mills, and sheller cone polisher mills. Milling system. Usually there are three methods of rice milling. First one is one step process or the simpler one, or the two-step process and the multi-stage process. In one step process, husk and bran removal are done in one pass. One pass means that husk and bran layer are removed together. And in two-step process, husk and bran layer are removed separately, means brown rice is produced as an intermediate product here. And in one-step milling process, white rice is produced directly from the paddy. And in multi-stage milling process, rice undergoes number of series of operations of rice milling processes and methods. Now, the rice milling is divided into village rice mills and commercial rice mills. Rice mills which are used for milling paddy of farmers for home consumption are called as village rice mills, whereas when rice is sufficiently milled and all the husk and stones are removed to appeal customer is known as commercial rice mills. One step milling process can be done using pestle and mortar or hand pounding, as I discussed under traditional method of milling, and using the steel single pass mill. And in two step milling process can be done using compact rice mills. Now the objective of rice mills we have already discussed in previous slides. So the first objective of rice milling is the removal of husk and bran layer to produce an edible white rice, to remove the impurities and to decrease the number of broken kernels. Now we will discuss commercial rice milling process in detail. Commercial milling mills the paddy in different processing steps, thus called as multi-stage or multi-pass milling process. The main objective of commercial milling is to reduce the grain breakage and to produce higher quality and higher yield of white rice from the paddy or the rough rice. So there are three basic steps of commercial milling. First one is the husking stage, second one is the whitening and the polishing stage, and the last step is the grading, blending, and the packaging stage. So during milling, first husk is removed and secondly bran. So if we want to produce brown rice, only husk is removed, and in order to produce white rice, both the layer, that is bran and husk, both the layers are removed. Sometimes parboiling may be done prior to the milling to improve the nutritional quality and also to increase the milling yield and to reduce the breakage. So, and I forgot to mention in the PPT that before milling, parboiling of rice is done. In this process, the paddy is boiled partially in order to increase its nutritional value and also to reduce its breakage, and it changes the texture of cooked rice. Also remember that the parboiling of rice is an optional step. Steps involved in rice milling. So this is the basic or the simple flowchart of modern rice milling process. And here first harvested paddy undergo cleaning process in order to remove the impurities, that is the pre-cleaning step, and then husk removal is done, that is called as de-husking or de-hulling. So after the husk removal, aspiration is done to remove the husk with the help of air, which produces the brown rice in paddy separation steps. So here brown rice is obtained. Now the next step is whitening and polishing. So here the brown rice undergo whitening, that is abrasive whitening, and for which is followed by friction whitening, which produces the white rice. So here we obtain white rice. Now the next step is polishing. So after polishing, length grading is done on the basis of length and gets separated into broken rice and head rice. So in this grading step, white rice undergo length separation, and by which we obtain broken rice and head rice. Now this broken rice and head rice undergoes proper blending or mixing process in an appropriate amount, and again polishing, that is mist polishing, is done, and finally packaging is done after proper weighing. Now we will go through each step in detail in upcoming slides. Now we will discuss each and every step of rice milling in detail. So the first we will understand that milling of paddy is of two types. First one is raw and second one is parboiled. So in raw milling, harvested paddy directly undergo milling process, whereas in parboiled milling, firstly parboiling of rice is done and then milling process is start. So the very first step of rice milling is pre-keeling. Pre-cleaning. So when the paddy comes to the mill, it contains different types of impurities such as straw, dust, seeds, soil, small stones, or any other foreign material. So it is required to remove these impurities in order to increase the efficiency of the mill and the milling recovery. So there are different types of pre-cleaners available for paddy cleaning on the basis of their cleaning mechanism. And first one is oscillating sieve pre-cleaners. So in this type of cleaner, it consists of two oscillating sieves of different size, which removes the impurities on the basis of size and shape. Second one is aspirator come oscillation pre-cleaners. The aspirator grain cleaner removes lighter impurities such as dust, dirt, chaff, and straw by blowing or sucking air stream, and the impurities that are not removed by the air are later removed by using oscillating sleeves. Also in these types of pre-cleaners, some cleaners also contain magnets in order to remove impurities, in order to remove iron particles. Now the third one is rotary cleaner. In this type of cleaner, it consists of one or two drums, and each drum consists of mesh of different size of perforation in the shape of a hexagonals or square shapes, and it also contains an oscillating sieve. So here, impurities which are larger in size than the grain are removed first through drums, and then the paddy falls onto the oscillating sieves, which removes the heavier impurities like stones. Now the fourth one is de-stoner with aspirator. This type of pre-cleaner removes stones and other foreign materials on the basis of their densities. So this is all about the pre-cleaning step. Now the second step is de-husking or de-hulling. So the process of removal of outer layer husk from the paddy by friction is called either de-hulling or de-husking. Traditionally, de-hulling process was done using mortar and pestle. So but in modern mills, it is done by passing the paddy grains between two abrasive surfaces that were moving at the different speeds. So after separating the husk and paddy, husk is removed by aspiration and transported to a dump outside the milling plant. So after this, finally the brown rice is obtained in this step. Now the kernels that were not dehusked properly in the first pal will be separated and again returned to the dehusker for removal of the husk layer again. And there are the different dehusking technologies used in modern milling system. First one is steel huller, under runner disc sheller, rubber roller hammer. Now the third step is paddy separation. So after dehusking or dehulling, mixture of paddy rice, brown rice, husk, broken paddy and bran, these all are obtained. So the huller removes the lighter material like husk, bran, very small brokens. These all are removed by the huller. But the remaining materials are passes to the paddy separator. So here unhusked paddy rice are separated from the brown rice, and this paddy separation works on the basis of specific gravity, buoyancy, size between the paddy and the brown rice. So in the paddy separation, paddy rice has a lower specific gravity and higher buoyancy, and it is physically longer, bigger, and wider than the brown rice. So on this basis, separation is done. And there are two types of paddy separator, that is compartment separator and tray separator, which are used for the paddy separation, which uses the difference in the specific gravity, buoyancy, and the grain length to separate the paddy and the brown rice. Next, fourth step is whitening and the polishing. So first we will understand that what is whitening and what is polishing. So the removal of bran layer from the brown rice in order to produce white rice is known as whitening. Simple, removal of bran layer is called as whitening, whereas when the bran particle is still sticking to the surface and that are removed are known as polishing. So I think you all get clear between what is the difference between polishing and whitening. I'm again repeating that removal of bran layer is simply known as whitening, and the bran particles is still sticking to the surface of the paddy, which are removed using polishing method, which gave the smoother and the shinier appearance of the rice. So this bran layer is removed from the kernel by applying friction to the grain surface. This friction is provided by rubbing the grain against an abrasive surface or against each other. So the two principles on which whitening process is done, that are abrasion, and second one is friction. So on the basis of these two, grain are forced against each other, which helps to remove the bran layer. So in abrasive process, grain is whitened by the abrasive action of rice. Here, rice are passed between moving abrasive surface and a stationary screen, which whiten the rice. And in friction, grains are forced against each other, which helps to remove the bran layer. So about 8 to 10% of bran layer of the kernel weight is removed, and this will vary according to the variety of rice and degree of whiteness required. And always remember that abrasion whitening comes always first and friction later, because if only friction whitening is done, it will use lot of power and energy consumption, which will be high, and it will cost, it will increase the cost of the machine. So abrasion whitening comes first, and then friction whitening is done. And also remember that polishing is done after whitening only. Firstly whitening is done and then polishing is done. Now the next step is separation or grading. So after polishing, the white rice is separated into head rice, large and small broken rice, and this separation is done on the basis of size using shifter. The shifter is made up of series of oscillating screens through which rice passes and through which grading of rice is turned into head rice, large and small brokens. A head rice is commonly known as kernels, and shifting is also used to remove germs and bran which is still present in the milled rice. Now the next step is rice mixing. In this step, proper blending of head rice and broken kernels are done in correct proportion depending on the country's standards. Now the next step is mist polishing. It is, we can say that is a final polishing before sales. Here final polishing of rice is done using mist of water in order to remove the dust which is retained on the whitened rice in order to increase the luster of the rice. And the final and the last step is weighing. So here in this step, lastly the finally milled rice which is obtained after the milling process is finally properly weighed and packed into sacks accordingly, and then sell out to the further process. So this is the whole flow chart of the rice milling process. So when the harvested paddy reach to the mills, the very first step is pre-cleaning of the paddy. So here impurities are removed using different pre-cleaners on the basis of shape and size. And after proper cleaning of paddy, de-husking and de-hulling process is done, where removal of husk occurs, and after which mixture of brown rice and unhusked paddy are obtained, which moves to the further process for the paddy separation. So in paddy separator step, unhusked paddy again went to the enter to the de-husking process, and remaining brown rice gets separated, and finally we obtain the brown rice. So from here, brown rice enter to the whitening process. I already explained that the removal of bran layer is whitening. So using principle of abrasion and friction, whitening of rice is done, and then followed by the polishing step. Always remember that polishing is done by after whitening step. Then once the polishing is done to increase the luster or shining appearance of the rice, length grading and separation is done, in which head rice and small broken kernels are obtained on the basis of size using shifter. Now after that, proper length grading is done and get separated on the basis of size into head rice, large and small broken rice. Then after separating or grading step, proper rice mixing is done, means proper blending is done in correct manner, depending on the countries, what are the countries standards. And after that, rice final polishing is done, and which mist of water is used in order to remove the dust particles which increase the lusterness of the rice. And finally we obtain the milled polished rice, which is finally weighed and packed into the sacks. So this is all about for today's lecture. I hope you will like it. So if you have any doubt, let me know down in the comment section. You can follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn page, and you can also join our WhatsApp group for more upcoming information, and link for all the social media platform are already mentioned in the description box. And if you found this video lecture useful, don't forget to share it at your end, and do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you.